We lead off today's show with Ken Hull, a local artist and author who has penned 2 books chronicling the best restaurants in central Pennsylvania. We caught up with Ken at his Boalsburg home to talk about the inspiration for the 2 books.
I had been traveling around with my buddies on our motorcycles for years prior to this, and I don't know why, but I always seem to have these great experiences. I can't just go out and eat somewhere and come back. There has to be something happen while I'm there. Either I meet somebody interesting, or I find something interesting out about the place, or I take some cool road and it leads to this. You know, things come to me, like these experiences. And so I had like this vast collection of experiences in my head about these places that I've been and people I'd met and what was going on there and all that stuff. I started writing and it was like the floodgates open, and I just couldn't stop writing, and everything that I was writing seemed really good, and you know, I was making myself laugh with different stories, and it just all kind of happened.
Ken took complete ownership of the project, from writing to even publishing the book himself. He talked about the feeling of accomplishment.
That's a very good feeling because I'd never written a book before. It's self-published. I had it all to do myself. I picked a random number of 5,000 books to print. It was very expensive, all out of my own pocket. It took off. It was well received from day one. My book release party for my first book was held at Herwig's Austrian Bistro, downtown State College, and I sold 100 books that first afternoon, and I knew right there I was off on a good start. And 3 years later, all 5,000 copies have been sold.
Hull's passion for supporting local business establishments was born out of his travels to Europe.
Mostly in a little village in Italy or France, you'll find just mom and pop things. I loved that. I just got a real taste for that. Local bakeries, local butcher shops, little local stores. It just seemed right to me. And so I'd come home with that in my brain and in my heart, and it's like, wow, where can I do this here? And oh, it's hard to, you know, because the places are disappearing.
Hull's love of art was actually born from his love for motorcycles.
I've always loved motorcycles, and I was in an Explorer Post for motorcycles sponsored by the Boy Scouts, and our Explorer Post leader was a professional fine artist, worked on his own, you know, did his own thing, and I was hanging out with him, and I would say of anybody, he was probably my biggest influence, in that just that I saw a lifestyle especially, and a career that looked really appealing to me.
Many believe that a correlation exists between food and art, and for Hull, it's a chance to release his creativity.
Preparing and cooking food is an art form. I mean, I know some people who are just unbelievable cooks or chefs, and it shows in their presentation and their food quality, no doubt. But for me, as a writer of cool places to eat and drink, I guess it's not so much a direct correlation between art and food as much as it's all about creativity. Like, writing is very creative. That's one of the things that got me into writing, is I was had reached a place in my art where I felt like I had done everything I wanted to do, and I wanted to try to do something else, but I didn't know what, but I knew that whatever it was had to be creative. And so writing seemed to be a good way to release that creative energy and spirit.
As to what the future may hold, Hull is keeping an open mind.
Who knows, you know? Like I said, if somebody would have told me I was going to be an artist, I would have not believed them. I'm going to be a writer? No way, it can't happen. But I've done both. I have no idea what's next. I'm open to whatever.
Ken's books are full of great local eateries, and Going Local Volume 2 is available at goinglocalpa.com.